Hey there. Ow! Fucker. Bastard. Alright. Alright. This is exactly one of the reasons that this game is bad. Hello. This is me, DeathbringerDraws. I'm making a video. I am slightly sick, so note that, but I'm making this video to address Wings of Fire: The Seven Kingdoms quality. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. Basically, Wings of Fire: The Seven Kingdoms is supposed to be an open world exploration kind of roleplay thing, a bit like the other Wings of Fire roleplay game. But in this one, it actually has combat, as you just saw, as well as a pretty vast index of items and places. Maybe not places, but items. Besides this, it has some survival elements as well. And all of this culminates in, actually, in my opinion, rather subpar experience. I know it's still, like, early, it's not near to done, I believe, but, example, it's quite laggy. At least my computer can't run it very well, and it's Roblox, so a lot of people have computers like mine. Which, there's that Nightwing again. Which means, of course, that's kind of a problem, to be honest. So you can't really experience the game's full visuals, which admittedly, the terrain is the detailing of the trees and stuff is kind of wonky sometimes. Like, example, some of them are just kind of floating, and some of them are, like, again, floating above, like, a ravine instead of just slightly off the ground. But aside from that, the terrain's not half bad. It's not the best, but as you can see, they do not use the original Wings of Fire map. They use a different one. You can see it up here in the upper right corner, which actually you can't see. 1 minute, let me change the camera. Yeah, there. You can see it up in the upper right. But besides that, that doesn't matter quite. You can see in the lower right, there's food, and you can't quite see it, but there's a thirst bar too. But anyways, it's interesting, but oh shit. And Roblox crashed. And that was the other thing I was going to get onto, is that it is not the most bug-free game. It crashes, not like all the time, but it does crash. And sometimes entering certain areas it will crash. It will crash. That's what I'm saying, is that it is not bugless. It is not very smooth. The visuals are still in early development. So, example, some of the weapons look rather stupid, if I'm being quite honest. I do not believe that equipping a weapon quite works like it does in other games, and neither does combat. But I'll get to that in a minute. Basically, it's not the most bug-free game, and that's not good. But aside from that, I'm going to work towards something that I personally hate a lot. I do not like it. You saw a bit of it earlier. The combat seems okay. That was one of the first times I've ever really done combat, to be quite honest. But it seems Sea Wings have fire, which I'm not in support of. I think that this game is not it's Wings of Fire, but it's not Wings of Fire. It's removed from Wings of Fire to an extent. It's got different kind of lore bits. It's got different ways things work. I mean, for heaven's sake, there's literally like animus objects, but there's multiple of them. Like, I get how that works, but having two players fight each other with the same, like, magic staff that's supposed to be unique is a bit interesting. Let me find it. There, the lifesteals. as well as some of these are, magical. And to be honest, it's like some of them, like the bronze sword or the stone sword, they don't look good. They look decidedly bad. Same with the claymores, as well as the things like this thing. They do not look very good. Things like that flaming sword, though, that looks badass. And the pure blade's okay. But like the dagger, the saber, the throwing star actually they all look good. But then you get it mixed in with, and like the amulet and the emerald claw, but then you get it mixed in with these dumb looking ones. And that kind of breaks it. It doesn't work like that. Aside from that, though, how the survival elements work. Drinking is fine. I have no problem with drinking. It actually is rather intuitive. Basically, you walk up to a water source, you hold down Q, and he drinks. It's really easy. But as far as food goes, here's another part where it goes, kind of away from the main canon and, in my opinion, quite unrealistically. You eat other dragons. I'm not kidding about this. If you go into the Itemopedia and you go into, you can search up dragon, and it's not coming up 1 minute. But there's dragon bone things, there's dragon blood quenched swords, sea dragon eyes, skulls, and meat. And this is currently the only source of meat in the game. Aside from getting it from chests, which it's still labeled as dragon meat, by the way. But if you don't get it from a chest, you have to kill another dragon and eat them. Like, what the hell? That is not Wings of Fire. That is something else. Because dragons and Wings of Fire don't eat each other. They never have. And they're sentient. They're like humans. Humans tend to not eat other humans if they can help it. But it's just wrong. Something about it isn't right. I don't like it. That's a real turn-off for me, in my opinion. It's just, this weird system, which, again, it's incomplete. The game is not finished yet. They probably will add hunting, other animals, and things like that. But besides that, it's still, you still make weapons out of dead dragons. Like, come on. Besides that, other than all of that, that section's done with. The game itself is clunky. The flying is okay. It's not like it's a full body animation or anything, and you can glide, which is actually pretty cool and helpful. But landing doesn't always feel smooth, to say the least. That was a great example right there. And not all the animations look the best. Like, come on, see, landing. I told you. Like, I don't know what it is, but it looks wrong. His head doesn't quite move. Their tail just stands mostly static. So does their torso. It's like only the legs are moving. The wings aren't either. This is what I mean. I think that the Wings of Fire game, the roleplay one, has better animations and look overall compared to this one. And this one, being an open world kind of MMO thing, you'd expect there to be quests and such, but from what I can tell, there pretty much isn't. There's almost no quests. It's kind of confusing. Currency is gained and all that through basically trading, which isn't too confusing, but you gotta go to the Rainwing village almost specifically and find the trading hub there, which is just kind of convoluted, and it has a chance of crashing when you enter it. It's happened to me before. And it's kind of confusing when you first do it. It's like, what? Where am I going? No. It's not labeled or anything, you just find the cave. But besides that, too, little note, I had to edit this section, so this kind of transfers a bit roughly. This is just to let you know. It's going to be transferring into how combat feels and all that, and it might be a bit jump cutty, but that's, again, because I had to edit it. Alright, that's all. And note, I bet someone can get skill at the combat, and I bet that first person maybe have been better than third person, but point still stands. I think that they should have a third person combat thing where it's like combat lock. It actually isn't that bad for combat in like a Roblox game. I think that this game, for combat and for dragons, it having aerial combat as the main form depicted is actually correct. I think that its combat isn't actually as bad. I think the combat's okay. I think maybe the way that items might be handled isn't the best, because to my knowledge it looks like it just improves your stats rather than actually, yeah, look, bite attack +3, rather than actually giving you a weapon to work with. Like, you'd expect that, like, Dragon Bone Rapier, you'd actually have a rapier, but no, it just improves your stats. Which I can get for armor to an extent, but not with swords, not weaponry. Unless it's, some kind of top-down game that, But, and besides that, it's just... Also, Sea-Wings having fire is something I don't support. Like, seriously, guys? Bruh. Other than that, it's got some really cool ideas for mechanics. Example, the Sea-Wings can actually breathe underwater. They do have night vision that they can, take advantage of at night. And other things of the sort. And, like Mudwings, they heal other people in your party. You can create parties like in D&D and all that. And there are skill trees and things. It's so cool. But they've failed to an extent. I wouldn't say failed. I would say they have yet to quite achieve their vision. They're working on it, and I can respect them for that. They are making a game which has so much potential. But currently, in its current form, it is free, by the way. You can access this freely. But its current form is not the greatest, at least in my opinion. Note, I am new to this. I may have more in-depth opinions later. But currently, it is not the best. Maybe check in later. It will get better. I am sure of that. I hope it gets better because I love this game's concept. I am in love with this game's concept. And I love this idea. And for those of you who know of Project, that is something that I'm doing close to this, but it's a bit more obscure, and I'll make a video about Project some other time, sometime sooner. But aside from that, it's I don't intend to fall for the same weaknesses of this. But the thing is that it is so cool. It has so much potential. I feel like there's something else that I should be saying, and I haven't quite gotten it. But see again, disconnection. Although I think that one was my Wi-Fi, because my Wi-Fi hasn't been the best today. But yeah, I think that should be enough for this video. So I don't know, see you guys later, I guess, but I support this game. I hope it does well in the future. This is just a video on the current state of the game, because I don't think it's in its best state right now, and I think that it can be definitely improved, but it needs work, and the developers have to be vigilant to keep this game alive. It has a good player base right now, and it is succeeding in getting players, but it needs to keep those players, and I think at its current rate it may not keep them. I don't know. This game it's got potential to actually pull through, which I believe it will if the developers can do it. But that's all for the day. Goodbye.